Elma and Kimberley tonight. All right. We're missing Roberta and Linda and Big Husky will be here in a few minutes.
Yes.
But we're in for a treat tonight. So y'all sit back, get your popcorn, take your shoes off, relax in your house because we have some good information for you today. All right. So we're going to start it off with our scripture walk or scripture dance. We don't know what Otis is going to play. All right, Otis, drop that beat.
You know, we're working co-hosts.
I know.
We all work.
We work. All righty. Okay, so to get our show started, we always use Philippians 1:6. Finish what you started is our shorter version of this because we always want you to finish what you start. Don't be a procrastinator. Whatever God has put in your heart, finish it. Because this young man says, never ever give up. Don't you ever give up on life, and don't you ever give up on Jesus, because Jesus doesn't give up on you. Why? Because but God, I tell you, I get happy every time I think about it. But God, He's the one, He's our author and finisher of our faith, and He's the reason why we are here. So tune in right now. We're getting ready to start this show, but we have to dedicate everything to Jesus. All right. So, Kimberley, how was your day?
Amazing.
Oh, Lord, that sounded good.
It's always good. You know, you just keep your mind stayed on Him, and He'll take you places.
Won't He take you places?
That's exceedingly abundantly above all you ask or think.
And give you that peace?
Whatever say be trying to do, you just sit back and you just
and
laugh at Him. He's still slow. And the people He used are still slow.
And He tried to take our peace, but He can't.
He can't.
I'm not giving Him any power.
Satan doesn't know the inside story. Because had he known, he would not have crucified the Lord of glory.
I know it.
So you know if he didn't know that it was God in Christ reconciling the world unto Himself coming down in hell.
Woo!
It's like, how slow can you go?
I know it, but he forgot. He said,
forgot.
if I be lifted up,
I will what?
I will draw all men. That's the good part of
This
it.
is the drawing
Ooh,
season.
I tell you, it's getting hot up in here.
You know, I got a boyfriend. I got to tell you about my boyfriend.
Okay, tell me about your
I
boyfriend.
found a boyfriend.
Mhm.
Well, I feed the birds at work during lunch. You know, I
Oh,
throw
that's so sweet because he talks about that. If I can feed the birds, go ahead, girl. Come on now. That's
feed the
scripture
birds at
says
lunch.
I can feed them. Come on now.
You know, I go to Lisa's Chicken. I don't eat the bread.
Okay.
So I've been throwing the bread out.
Oh, I know
So
they'd be happy to see you there.
Yes. There's a neighborhood that backs up against the fence at work. And I guess they have chickens and roosters and the whole thing back there.
Oh, wow.
So I always throw it out. The Lisa, you know, Lisa's
Yeah, I
Chicken,
know,
throw out the
yeah.
bread or the little hush puppies or whatever you call them.
Uh-huh.
So last week, I realized the rooster they got out of the fence.
Oh, no.
And he came and got it. And I was wondering why the birds didn't come anymore.
Uh-huh.
So here he is. And I'm looking at him like, that is not for you. Don't you hear your wife calling you? Because he'll be out there early in the morning when I pull up. Don't you hear her out there going, I said, get on back in that fence. So he's been eating all the treats. So today, and then they give us a donut. Sometimes if I get a donut, I only eat the top part and throw the rest away. So it's like bread to me. So I threw the bread out there, that bottom half of the donut out there. Do you know today, when I came out for lunch, he knows my car.
The rooster?
He knows me and my car. So he was over when I came out the door and there's a ramp.
That yellow.
He was standing by the trash can.
That's
So
cute.
as I began to walk, now previously if he saw me, he'd go, I
Uh-huh.
was like, whatever. So today when I walked out, he walked right beside me like we were two best friends in sync, looking up at me. Wasn't scared. He took you, and I stopped. He stopped. I said, "Oh, we friends now?" It's like that. He was like, I think he wanted another donut, the sugar in the donut or whatever's in that bread. You know, the hush puppies. I mean, he literally walked right beside me as though we were walking and talking. And then when I got to the car, he came around with me like Mr. Rooster was gonna open the car door. I said, I'm not giving you no more crumbs or donuts. No, I'm gonna give you some crackers. So I threw them crackers out, and the crackers were dry. He didn't want the crackers. I said, me either, because they are real dry. They don't have no taste. They don't have no flavor, nothing.
Yeah. The rooster didn't want that.
But it was just so interesting that he walked right beside me and just went in step with me.
Isn't that amazing?
From the ramp to my car, and he knows my car. He knows me. So when I left for work today, he was looking. Somebody had given him some water or something. He was just looking at me down the other end. He was just looking at me, and I still had the rest of that donut in the car because it was for him. And I threw it out there, and he looked out the side of his eye because he was down maybe 4 cars down, and he looked. Next thing I know, when I got in the car, I was like, he came running down there.
Oh, wow.
It was so cute. I was like, I got a new, this my man, y'all. This my man.
The little rooster that got him a woman.
Steven talking about, what did Steven say? Steven said, KFC is hiring. I said, leave my rooster alone. This is my new man. This is my new man.
You should have taken a picture and y'all with you all on there together.
You know, but I was surprised because he just walked and I had all my stuff in my hand. I was like, nobody's gonna believe that he's walking right beside me.
Well, he love you now, girl. You got it going on, Kimberley.
She gonna be over there fussing at me in a little while.
The wife gonna come and get you now. You messing with her rooster.
Messing with her man. Me and Mr. Rooster.
It is getting like Jerome now. So again, like Jerome, ain't that right? Oh, she's getting like Jerome now.
My life has come to this. I'm talking to roosters.
She done started talking to roosters. Lord have mercy. Well, anyway, we done heard the rooster story, yes. Jerome. Jerome, you better come back. She taking your place. We're talking to the animal. All right, we have a special guest tonight that I would love for you all to meet. And we're going to bring this beautiful, she is so smart. Yes. And she has some good information for you all. So get your pen and paper and write it down. At this time, I want to bring up, come on up. I'm calling her Doctor. Come on in the house. Dr. Christina Jenkins. Woo! All righty. Okay, Dr. Jenkins.
Yes, welcome.
I met Dr. Jenkins, Kimberley, at this Black Chamber, Fort Worth Black Chamber seminar they was having. It was called Keeping It in the Family.
Okay.
No.
That is correct.
No, I met you at at the Black.
We met at the Lockheed.
At the Lockheed, yes, that's right. At the Lockheed that the Black Chamber put on. It was a Lockheed seminar, right? And she was there, and I was going around. We was talking, and I said, "Oh, you need to come on my show." I did like you.
Yes.
I said, "Oh, you need to come on my show." And then she introduced me to Keeping It in the Family, real estate, right? What was it called? Real estate.
Legacy Tour.
Yeah, that's it. And it's a group of Black entrepreneurs, and I mean, they had some information. That's where we had Dr. Moore. I met Dr. Moore at this one too.
Okay.
And so Christina, is it Christine or Christine?
It's Christina.
Christina, okay. That's what I like, that Christina. And so we got to talking. I said, "Oh, you need to come on my show." She said, "Okay, good." But when I got to the conference, the webinar, it was so interesting. And I said, I got to get you out here because she has so much information. She's a real estate attorney.
Wow.
Black attorney. Wow. A real estate attorney. And she know her stuff too, girl. So we're going to let Dr. Jenkins talk to us tonight and tell us a little bit about herself. You look I love your glasses.
Thank you.
Those nails
too. This is Black-owned company.
Oh, really?
I bought them at the Essence Fest, her first year doing these.
Wow.
And now she has blown up, so they cost a lot more than I paid.
But you paid for it now, huh?
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
So
Thank
tell
you.
us a little bit about yourself.
So, as you said, my name is Christina Jenkins. I'm a real estate attorney here in the Metroplex. I was born and raised in Fort Worth, Texas.
All right. Yes.
So I'm from Fort Worth, educated in Fort Worth, went to college and law school here.
Okay, good.
And then graduated and went to Dallas. That was 21 years ago. So I've been practicing law for 21 years.
Wow,
yes.
that is awesome.
Wonderful.
21 years.
Yes, and in the real estate mortgage field for 29.
Okay.
So right after I got out of high school, there was a summer works program there at, used to be Seminary South, then Town Center, and now La Grande Plaza.
Yes.
But I went there, and I went in a suit. And it was a teenage summer works program. And there were about 150 of us there. And the director had us all come in, and he said, "Okay, we're going to go start the workshops," and sent everyone back. And then he said, "No, you don't go back. You go this way."
Oh, wow.
And so when I went that way, he said, "You're the only one that showed up in a suit. So you're ready for work. I can't teach you anything here." He gave me a card. He said, "Call this number." They sent me to a bank. I was hired on the spot.
Get out of here.
And that was my first job.
Whoa, that is awesome. Okay. So what made you want to go into being an attorney and real estate and mortgage and all that? How'd you?
So I knew I wanted to be an attorney first. I didn't know what kind.
Okay.
So I was 7 years old.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
I don't know what I was doing. I was 6.
At 7, I think I was playing with dolls or something.
I was 7, and I loved the Cosby Show and Claire Huxtable. Was somebody I looked up to.
Okay.
And I said, I want to be an attorney when I grow up. And my dad always said, you have the gift of gab. So you would be a good attorney.
Good attorney.
Yes, yes. And then I entered speech contests at the church.
Okay.
We would have Galilee Griggs used to have their speech competition. I would enter into that, do Juneteenth programs and speak on those programs, and got scholarships speaking to school. Yes.
That was good. That's
so
good.
I knew that was a calling early on.
To do that.
Mm-hmm.
That is good, but it's a lot that goes into being an attorney.
Yeah, it is.
Studying
it's
and
a lot of
working
studying. That's right.
So what school did you go to get your?
So it's now Texas A&M downtown, Fort Worth, but it was Texas Wesleyan at the time. And so yes, you go to school for your 4-year degree, and then you go to law school for 3. And so it was a rigorous program, but I made it through by the grace of God. And
I know you did, and look at you now. So you like doing this?
I love it. I feel like it's what I was always called to do. And so when it's a calling, it's not work. That's my assignment, right? And so I love it, and I'm able to kind of do it now in a way that I've never been able to do it before. Having my own firm for 17 years, I worked for banks and mortgage companies in the ivory tower at on the 25th floor of the building, behind lock and key. And so, I met with my clients and things like that. But around COVID, I decided that I had become a partner in that firm, and I had also become a senior vice president of a document company that firm owned. And so I was pretty high up there, but decided this is not really what I want to do. And I'm not exercising all of my gifts in this role. And so I decided to start my own firm. And so February will be 5 years. And now I feel like I'm hitting my stride because I'm able to take the things that I've learned and talk to everyday people and give that information away, and can fully bring who I am into the law practice that I have.
Good. That's good. Okay, so when I met you, you was talking about wills and different appraisal or. There was so much information. Trust.
Many different things.
Yeah, so you want to talk a little bit about that as well?
Yeah, I will. Yeah. And I'll give just a little brief intro to that. So I started talking about my firm. And one of the things that I found out in my firm is that information that I had gathered over the last, 17 years prior, everyday people didn't know. And I found myself repeating the same information to people over and over again. And then one day I was given a study, and it was done by the Asset Funders Network, and it was talking about heirs property. And what heirs property is property that someone has passed away, and there was no piece of paper telling anyone what to do with that property or who owns it. And so a lot of times that property is in limbo, and then it's foreclosed on, usually for taxes, back taxes, because either the family doesn't know that they own it, or because they don't have the money to pay it. And as I looked through the report, I found out that Black and brown communities are being affected at a higher rate of losing property that was most of the time paid off. There's not even a mortgage on it. Right. But we're losing this property. And they had a map. And on the map, you can see in Tarrant County and Dallas County, right where, the 95th to 100th percentile of this property was happening is in our neighborhoods. Wow. It's in the South Side. It's on Stop 6. It's in South Dallas, where there are populations of Black and brown people that are close to the downtown city center in prime spots, because they're prime, less than 5 miles from downtown. So as you can see in those neighborhoods, you'll see gentrification, meaning they're building new buildings and new townhomes right next to the hood. And the idea is to get to learn people and know people and eventually start to take over these properties. And so we are seeing where there are all kinds of measures being taken by people. They'll come to, you know, a black and brown family and say, okay, we'll give you $2,000 for you to sign this deed. And you give it. But this home is worth $300,000.
Oh, wow.
And they know that.
Yes.
So they'll get you to sign over your interest as an heir. And then they'll go along their way of developing that property, selling it, and making the profit off of it.
You don't get anything.
And you got nothing.
Just that $2,000.
Right.
Just example. Yeah.
Right. And we all know. I mean, the Bible tells us our people perish
for the lack of
knowledge.
Yes. Yes.
And so in my firm, I started to realize people were coming in day after day after day. And there's one of me. And there are very few black real estate attorneys in this state. There are only 2 that are board certified. One is me and a friend of mine in Beaumont. And we can't take everybody. So I decided to start. I was speaking on heirs property at the Fort Worth Black Chamber of Commerce. Met Marcus Hill, who's my business partner, an appraiser that's had the same career, same pretty much length of career in the appraisal field. And we both had a desire to help the community. So we started keeping it in the family so that I could call in many people and give that information at once, where I cannot see all of them in my office. Right. So when we talk about heirs property, and particularly in Texas, real estate is a state-specific issue. There is no one-size-fits-all approach to real estate. So national programs can't necessarily deal with the issue of heirs property because they may not be talking about how the law works in your state. So in the state of Texas, the one thing that I try to teach first, and we try to teach at Keep It in the Family, is prevention. How can you prevent your property falling into the heirs property category? And so there are a couple of ways you can do that when we're talking about real estate. One, you can do a transfer on death deed while you're living and file it in the public records, and that will pass your property on after you pass, free of probate. The other thing that you can do is something called a ladybird deed, or also we refer to that as an enhanced life estate deed. And you can sign that deed, file it in record, and when you pass away, it will pass to the ones that are designated in your ladybird deed. And those 2 deeds, $375 each, you know, you just get one. That would save you on the back end. Probate right now is averaging about $2,500 to go through a probate. And most of our people only have the house. We don't have a lot of investments and accounts and cash and things like that. We're usually, we have the house. And that goes for most baby boomers. And so it's important to get this information out. So that we know how to protect our legacy, because real estate is the thing that tends to be the largest asset that most Americans own. And so Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Wells Fargo, all of them, Wall Street is well aware of this. And so they have put out reports, and they have referred to what is happening over the next generation as the Great Wealth Transfer. Remember that. Google that. The Great Wealth Transfer. The baby boomers in this country own half of the real estate wealth in the country. And in the next generation or so, they will be passing on. And so will their property. And the question becomes, who is it going to pass to? It's either going to pass to your family voluntarily through proper planning, or it's going to pass to someone else involuntarily through improper planning. And what we are seeing is that in the Black community, we are on the shorter end of the stick, meaning we can stand to lose greater than we have at any other point in American history over these next 30 years if we do not put the proper planning in place to make sure that we can inherit everything that our families and our parents and grandparents worked for. Why give it to somebody else that did not work for it?
And then you end up losing, because they'll come in and ask, because I know the property that I was telling you about, my property down there, my share, but what they were trying to do, this one was so funny because back in the, let me see, 80s, I think, right around there, that's when they was doing a lot of oil thing. You know, they was going through there.
All
the oil leasing. Okay. So it was 640 acre total down there in Kildare, Texas. And that's including the blacks, you know. And we had one white family. When they did that survey and saw all of that 640 and there was only one white, do you know they didn't even want an oil lease? They didn't even want an oil lease because they saw all of these blacks own this land. And so that knocked us out on trying to get the oil lease because they didn't want us to get there. You know, so a lot of them, if they don't go back in and keep that land, it ended up, like you said, going into
it's tax foreclosure.
Yeah. And then they don't own anything down there. Most of the people come in and they'll say, oh, can I buy your property down here? You all are not here anymore. Can I buy your property? And they'll sell it out just like that for nothing.
Yes.
For a little bit of nothing.
And that's kind of where my business partner comes in to describe to people how important it is, and hopefully you can get him on the show, how important it is to know what the value of the property is. Because even if you don't want to keep the house, at least get the best value. You know, at least not sell it for $1,000.
Right.
If you stand to get $100,000, you know, take what you can get an appraiser out. And you can. You can call an appraiser to come out and look at the value of that property, to look at the value of that property as improved, to look at it in relation to everything else that's around it. Because sometimes, and it's not uncommon, I think people, you know, generally the public do not realize how much black land is out there.
It is.
How many people own hundreds of acres in East Texas and in other places in Texas, and that land is being scoped out by the developers and sometimes by people that live and own businesses in those towns because they know the bullet train is about to come through it.
There you go.
Or they know the railroad is right there by it, or they know that there's a electrical easement or there's water on that land and you don't know.
That's right.
Right.
That's
and
true.
So you need to put someone in between you and whoever you're talking about. That's what I tell my clients all the time. Until you have someone to represent your interests, you are not represented at all. If the person that wants to buy from you and you're the seller, you're on the opposite of that transaction from you. They don't have your best interest in mind. They have their best interest in mind. So don't take their word for it. Put your own, you know, representation in between you and them. So yes, we talk about that and prevention. And then we also talk about some other things that you can do, like wills and trusts, to plan ahead and to make sure that your property doesn't fall into, you know, heirs' property. One thing that I've noticed a lot in our community is that someone will pass away with a bank account, and that bank account didn't have any beneficiary on it.
That's
and
true.
So that bank account becomes probate property. And many times the bank account may have $1,000 in it. Well, in order to do a probate action, it's $350. That's the filing fee, you know? And so sometimes it's just not worth it to go through the process. So one of the things that I tell people is that anything that has a beneficiary on it, anything, make sure you designate a beneficiary. And not only that, if you have a checking account, a savings account, a life insurance policy, a pre-need, anything that has a beneficiary, please do me a favor and go print it off. If they tell you you have it, print it off and keep it somewhere safe along with your will and all, and let your beneficiaries know you're on this account.
Right.
If something ever happens to me, you're the beneficiary, so that they know to take the paper and go to the bank and tell the bank what they know.
Right.
Instead of asking the bank to help you, because it depends on who you get that day, whether or not you're going to get that help. I've had people walk in and talk to a bank and say, I think I'm a beneficiary on this account. And they say, get a court order and come back.
That's true.
A court order may not be needed.
That's right.
Maybe the only thing needed is a death certificate. So sometimes it's good to go ahead and advocate for your family yourself. Print that information off and have it somewhere where you know where to access it. So we talked about transfer on death deeds. We talked about ladybird deeds. We talked about wills and trusts. And then the last thing we talk about is what to do if someone passes away without a plan.
Okay.
So when there was no will or was no plan and you're in probate territory. And so in that case, you have heirs property. And there are a couple of things that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
If all you had is real estate, you can do what's called an heirship affidavit. If you do that affidavit, you want to make sure that it's in a form that a title company would accept, which
Mm-hmm.
means you need to go to an attorney to help get that prepared.
Mm-hmm.
Heirship affidavit runs you somewhere between $375 and $500.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to have something like that in order to help you sell the property if you'd like to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, of course, you would be in probate court.
Mm-hmm.
Doing one of a few actions. And that's the one place you don't want to be,
Mm-hmm.
is if you have to have heirship property.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most expensive type of probate case to do, and it
Mhm.
has the highest retainer. So you're looking at $5,000 to $7,500 if you have that kind of a case. So as you can see, it makes a lot more sense to pay $375 and get that deed done while you are yet living, instead of leave it for your loved ones to have to deal with after you pass.
Wow. So in that will, you can will whatever you want to whoever you want to in that will?
Yes. So what we did at the Keep It in the Family conference
Mhm.
that you were at is that my firm sponsored a will clinic.
Right.
And so what we did was we took everyone through the process of creating their own will, those that wanted one. And then we walked them through the process. So yes, there is a portion in the will where you can do what we call specific bequests.
Okay.
And that's where you can grant whatever you would like to grant to people, and you put them in there by name, and you
Mhm.
name specifically what it is that you would want them
Mhm.
to have. And then you also designate what you want to happen, with the rest of your estate, whatever doesn't pass,
Mhm.
So there are plenty of clauses in that will to make sure that your property passes the way it should, and that the will would be accepted once it's entered in at probate court. And a word about that, it is important to have an attorney, even if you do it yourself. Have one, just schedule a consultation and have one look over your will.
Mhm.
I've had people come into my office to get wills probated,
Mhm.
and the will doesn't pass for one reason or the other.
Mhm.
Maybe they didn't get the appropriate number of signatures. Maybe they hand wrote part of it and typed the rest of it. Maybe I can look at it and tell the fonts are different. Page 1 doesn't look like page 2 or page 3. I'm not going to enter that will because I know that there's some issues with it, and the judge would have issues with it. So Texas is very specific about what you need to do when you're creating a will. And as you know, we had will signing ceremonies there in the conference where we had the 2 witnesses and the notary and all of that done the way Texas law requires it to be done.
Oh, wow.
So I gotta tear my wheel up. I got it in crayon.
You need to
Crayon
quit.
is fine
Crayon.
as long as it's completely in your handwriting.
Oh, it's
It
in
can
my
be
handwriting,
done
really?
with crayon.
See,
What color crayon?
Blue.
That's fine.
Cause I'm gonna give somebody the blues when they read this wheel.
But it was so funny because I knew this one person, and they called them in and they was reading the will, and when they got to one sister, and the mother had left her $1.
Wow.
Boy, she was mad. She was so mad.
$1?
$1.
Oh Lord.
She gave everybody else this, but when she got to this one daughter, she said $1. And boy, she was hot.
Gotta be careful how you treat people
That's
when they're
right.
alive.
There you
Yeah.
go.
That is correct.
And so when the lady came and she was telling me about it, I said, why? She said, well, she didn't treat Mama right. And Mama gave her $1. That was so embarrassing.
That's
She said,
petty at the highest level of petty.
that
You
was
go to the will and they say, so we bequeath to you $1.
$1. And she said, I was trying to keep from laughing.
Right.
But it was so funny when he was reading off the will and everybody was getting all this stuff. And I lead to such $1. Oh, she was so hot. She ran out of there. But that's what the will said.
That's right.
So what's the difference between a will and the trust?
Yeah. So First of all, the way I like to explain it is that both of them give someone else the authority to act on your behalf when it comes to your estate. With a will, that person is called an executor.
Right.
With a trust, that person is called a trustee.
Okay.
In order for
That's
a
neat.
will to be effective, you have to go to court and have it entered in the probate court. And the executor has to be appointed, and the executor has to take an oath. With a trust, it becomes effective when it is signed, and the trustee can then act on behalf of the trust. And the trust gives all the conditions under which, the trustee can act. And that doesn't have to be done in court. So that's the primary difference between the two. Now, whether you use one or the other just depends on your circumstances. But one of the things that I tell people the most, because in our community, a lot of people have been told you need a trust, don't get a will so you can avoid probate. And my answer to that is maybe. Maybe you will, maybe you won't.
Right.
Okay.
Because if you do not know how to properly manage your trust, then property that you don't put in the trust can become probate property. And you'll be right at the probate court with a trust. So the idea is to do one or the other well, so that you don't have to do both down the road.
Okay. Do you do both of them?
I do.
You do will or trust?
I do wills and trusts.
Come on, wills and
So
trusts.
you have a revocable trust and a irrevocable.
Correct. Yes.
Come on, irrevocable. She's so funny. This our comedian here.
It's the way you said it, though.
So which do you prefer, or which would be
Yeah,
more accommodating? Is it case by case?
It's case by case, but most trusts that are done are revocable trusts.
Okay.
And most of them are going to be what we call, it's just a Latin word, inter vivos revocable trust. And what that means is that the trust is more so your alter ego is you. But you have all of your assets in a trust. So instead of your, Jones checking account is Jones Trust checking account, but Joan is signing the checks just like, regular. And you can put your house in the revocable trust. Many people do it because it's acceptable by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which most of the loans that we have are Fannie Mae backed loans. And so you can put it in the trust and Fannie Mae agrees with that, and it's all well drawn out. And they do revocable trusts, right? Not irrevocable. So certain trusts they start off irrevocable for a reason. Usually if it's irrevocable, it's because the trust has to be irrevocable in order for it to be accepted in certain places. So an irrevocable trust is one where when you start it, the terms cannot change.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
A revocable trust can be changed and amended and revoked by the settlor, the person that creates it, during their lifetimes. So there's flexibility with that revocable trust. Irrevocable is not. So trust that we see sometimes in irrevocable trusts, or trusts like life insurance trusts to children, they want it irrevocable because they want to make sure that the way that trust was created is the way it's going to be. Meaning if the life insurance proceeds go in there, exactly how the trust says it's going to operate is exactly how it's going to operate.
And that's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing for that purpose.
Okay.
It's a bad thing if you're trying to
change it.
Yes.
Oh.
And so for flexibility, most people are going to start and use the revocable trust. Now, what they'll typically do is, say it's a husband and wife, and they do a revocable trust. They both create it, and they're both co-trustees. And they'll say after the first one to die, the other one takes over, and the trust remains revocable. After the second one to die, the trust becomes irrevocable. And everything that we put in there freezes in place on the second one of us to die. Wow. That way, it gives the spouses the option to change the trust around as much as they'd like to, or as life requires it to be. But then on the last of them to pass away, they don't want anything changing on that trust.
So what happened if you have a husband and wife and you end up divorcing, you have a will trust, what happened then? They divorce.
Yeah, so it's interesting you should say that. So in the divorce decree, there should be some language about how some of the provisions in wills and trusts are no longer valid after. But certainly, anytime you have a life change, you need to go and update those
Your will.
documents, the will and the trust.
Oh,
I
So,
done took everybody out of my will.
did they get $1?
I will not.
You
No,
just
he
took 'em
probably,
out.
he
I
probably
will not. I'm like
Kim over
Kim
there.
over there. I will not. You know, but
You don't get
once
nothing.
you leave the estate,
That's it.
you no longer are a part of the estate, so you can't get no monies from the estate. I agree with you, Kim.
Yeah, that's good.
Come on, right with me.
So you can easily change it if you divorce or what? Somebody have to change it, right?
Yes. And so your will is personal to you.
Okay.
So typically, if we have a husband and a wife come in and do a will,
Mhm.
the husband will have his will and the wife will have her will.
Okay.
And so each one could go and say, frankly, right after they sign it, one of them can come back and say, I changed mine. I want to do something else. You can always change your will.
Oh, okay. What about the trust though? If you divorce,
So if you divorce, you're going to want to make some changes to the trust. So the trust is either going to have to be dissolved, and each one go and do their own trust, or sometimes, and it depends on what kind of trust you have. But if you have like a revocable trust, for example, if the house is in the trust, somebody got awarded the house in the divorce,
okay,
right? So there are other things that would kind of intervene and change some of the property ownership. It might make it where there's nothing really in the trust, right? So the divorce would presumably deal with all of the property that's inside of the trust and make sure that it's moved out however it needs to be. And typically that's with one of the trustees. So the trustees would move the property out and title it to whoever it needed to go to as a result of the divorce.
So how does that work if you had community property before you got married? How would that work? That wouldn't have anything to do with the spouse? If this is my community, I was aired this community here, or he was aired his community here. How would that work? Do I put mine on my will and he put his on his will, or?
Yes, so I'm going to make a distinction here and say that property that you owned before you got married is separate property, not community.
Okay.
Then property that you acquire while you're married is presumed to be community. Okay. And you know what we say, presumed innocent until proven guilty. Okay. So if there's a piece of paper or something that says this property is my separate property while you're married, then it can be, separate property. But for the most part, unless you, for example, if you buy a house and one spouse goes on the title, that doesn't mean that it's not community property. But if you put in that deed, Joan is taking this property as her sole and separate property, and then they have Joe sign down there that he agrees with that, then that's Joan's separate property.
Oh, wow.
Right? So that defeats the presumption of community. But like I said, if you're married and you acquire property while you're married without any piece of paper saying otherwise, it's presumed to be community. Okay, so inherited property is separate. It does not pass to your spouse. So yes, in your will, you would want to make sure that separate property is dealt with and it passes to whoever you would like for it to pass to, because it will not automatically pass to your spouse. If you want to give it to your spouse, you'd have to give it via a will. If you had inherited property and you died without a will, your spouse would not get that property.
Really?
It would go to your blood heirs at law. So that's why it's important.
So like your children.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Or whoever has power.
That your children. So the state of Texas will tell your property where to go. Okay. So there is a distribution. So it starts with your children. You don't have children and the parents. You don't have parents and siblings, and it goes out that way.
Oh, wow.
Them and their children, and so that's what they said will happen to your property if you don't tell it where to go.
Oh, wow.
Child, all the children I got is going somewhere.
Wow.
Okay.
Dang, that is interesting.
Yes.
So, okay, so husband and wife, the husband get his will, the wife get her will. Like that.
Yes.
Okay, so who gets the house?
Well, whoever says, wife says who she wants her community interest to go to, Husband says who he wants his community interest to go to. And hopefully it's each other.
That's
Especially if they live together.
But what about children though? Can they leave it to the children if they both agree on it or what? How
They
do
can.
do
They
that?
don't have to both agree. So each has their own community interest.
Okay.
50-50.
Okay.
So one parent could give it to a child. The other parent can give it to the child. And the child ends up with 100% after both parents are gone. But yes, you can create a situation where one parent leaves it to a child and that child is in 50% ownership with the other parent after the first parent passes.
So does it have to be, what if it's only one will? The husband didn't get a will and the wife got a will. How does that work? Does it still be the 50% even if I give it to?
So community is 50-50.
No
and
matter
this
what.
is one of the situations,
Yeah.
this is one of the toughest conversations I have to have in my office. And that is the conversation with a widow.
Yeah.
Whose husband died without a will.
Okay.
And she is not his only wife and the only mother of his children.
Oh, wow. He got multiples.
So
that's a big deal.
In that circumstance, if your husband, and this is not the first marriage, or there are children outside of that marriage that he does not have with you, if he dies without a will, half of his community property, his half in that house, goes to half to you, half to his children.
Oh.
So you could be in ownership with your stepchildren, and I've had to tell widows this before, and they are sharing property now with their stepchildren. If they want to refinance,
they
gotta
have to
ask
get
their
the
children.
They have to ask their children, right?
and depending on the relationship
They
between the
have.
stepchildren and the
mom.
stepmother,
It goes.
Well, they just have
Otherwise,
to
if she
sell.
doesn't want it,
yeah,
if they don't, if say for instance, the stepchildren don't want to sell, and the stepmother wants to sell,
right,
they can't sell.
she's stuck. She's gonna have to start really negotiating
with them,
with those kids, and maybe even buy them out. So when there are other children and it's not the same marriage and same children in common, it is very important for you to do estate planning. Protect your spouse is what I like to call it. A similar situation is when you are dating and not yet married.
That common law marriage.
Well, whether it's common law or not, when it's common law and it's deemed to be common law, in other words, there are things that set in place that you've had common law, even if a court says that you're common law married, then you're treated like you're married.
Okay.
So the situation is like what I just described.
Really?
Does Texas recognize common law?
It does.
Okay. Just asking,
so they would still get the 50-50.
You're treated like a spouse.
Wow.
If you're
Good
deemed to be
question to
common
ask.
law.
I'm smart.
But I will say that's very difficult to do, and more than likely it's going to take litigation to get there. So if you are dating or you are with someone that you are not married to, it is very important to watch how you acquire real estate and what you do. Because I also spend time speaking to people that have broken up and they went and got on a mortgage together.
Yes.
And bought the house and they're both entitled and they're both on the mortgage, and they come to me and say, well, I want to get off the deed. Well, I understand that you can get off the deed, but you cannot get off the loan. The borrowers are who they are. The only way for the lender to let you off of the loan is to have an adequate credit applicant in place, meaning if the boyfriend or girlfriend, whoever is keeping the house, cannot qualify on their own for the house, they're stuck with that loan.
Oh, wow.
Both of them.
Because he's the more adequate and she's not.
Whichever,
as far as the credit is concerned.
Or both of them could be inadequate. How many of you know people that, you got your credit up and all that just to buy the house?
Right.
But since then,
it's gone down.
You haven't been monitoring it. Or it took both of you and both of your incomes to qualify for the house.
Right.
And now that you've broken up, there's this mortgage, and if one is living there, and even if one stops making the payments, both credit profiles are affected.
Oh, wow.
So it is a very serious decision to enter into financing or property ownership with someone that you are not married to. And if you do that, you need to be careful about how you do it. and come up with some kind of an agreement or arrangement on how you will work together, while you're, together and living in that house.
So what happened if, I'm going to use my husband and I as examples.
Okay.
Since he's here. Love you, hubby. But anyway, what if a hubby walked out on me
Gone.
and left me with a mortgage, a house, and he just abandoned everything, and I'm stuck with that? How do I handle that situation? And I don't hear from him or nothing. Don't know where he is or whatever. Or even if I know, but he just walked out on me and left that mortgage on me. What did I do then?
Yeah. So I'll ask the question back to you. And I'm just going to ask this question.
Yeah,
and what
ask.
do you think? So when you call the mortgage company and you tell them that, what will their answer be to you?
They still got to pay that. You gonna still have to pay the mortgage.
Exactly. And that's the person you have to be concerned about.
Right.
Okay.
But
what if he's gone, so his name is still on the deed? How can I get it off of there if he's not paying any mortgage, anything? Left me by myself.
Right. The only way to get someone off a deed is for them to sign their way off or for them to be adjudicated off. So if you divorce him and you're awarded the house, then that divorce decree can be filed and he's off.
Okay.
Right. But before that, he's got to sign his way. You don't get him off.
He got to sign off.
Once he's entitled, he's entitled. Right. He's got to sign his way off. And so if he leaves you with the mortgage encumbers the house. In other words, it's a lien on the house. So as long as you want to live in the house, you have to make sure the mortgage is paid. And so unfortunately, he leaves you having to pay that mortgage until it's paid off. And so probably the best decision at that point would be to go ahead and divorce him, if anything, to get the title straight and to be able to make sure that it's all in your name, since you're going to be paying all of it.
Okay, because if I don't hear anything else from him, then you said the best thing for me to do is go ahead and file for a divorce.
Yes.
Because he might walk off and leave me, which he probably won't after 43 years. But so if I don't hear from him or whatever, I can go ahead and file a divorce and just tell the people I don't know where he is, or
if you're doing the divorce, then your family law divorce attorney is going to help you with that, how to get him served and properly served, and then they can go through with the case. There have been times where, and I don't do divorce on a regular basis, but every once in a while, when your biggest real estate client calls and asks you to do a divorce,
you go do it.
Right.
So when there's someone that you cannot find or you have an issue finding, there are ways to find people.
I know they say you can put their name in the paper. Is that still good?
You could do that. That's like a posting with notice by citation. But you could also find out where they're going to be on Facebook and make sure that people know that they are dodging something from their ex-wife, and it embarrasses them.
The Saints will find somebody. If everybody find nobody, put it on Facebook, and they'll be like, "Girl, I found he live at 377 Dorchester Road. He over there with that girl."
And I even bring the papers. If you pay me, I'll go and serve the
drop them out tonight. Matter of fact, I'm down the street right now.
I see him talking to that lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And imagine what I feel like on Monday morning when I get that phone call. Why were y'all on Facebook? Hello, Mr. Donaldson.
Right.
Get in contact with
We've
you.
been trying to call you, but you hadn't answered our call, so we took drastic measures.
That's good to know. Okay, because sometimes it's cheaper to stay in the house, than going out and get an apartment nowadays, because these apartments are just like a house.
You ain't
Well,
lying.
that's something to really talk about. That is a very serious message that our audience needs to know.
Yeah.
And that is that the price of home ownership is going up.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is not any end in sight that we can see. And so when it does come to a point where you may be able to inherit property, it's important to do what you can to try to hold on to it, because they're not making any more real estate. Right? Real estate is finite, right? And so it's important for us to be cognizant of that and to think about the history of this country, especially when it comes to Black people. And that there were laws put in place that kept us from being able to acquire property. And we started acquiring property about 100 years after the country was started, right? Because we were slaves when the country was started. And then once we started acquiring property, we started acquiring quite a bit and became congressmen and all of that, because land ownership was power. So then the Reconstruction laws came in. And then around the Civil Rights Movement, we started picking up in property ownership. Then we started to see redlining and other laws like Jim Crow laws come in to stop us from home ownership and to move us into certain areas. So if you could not afford a home, you could afford rent. And then they would put the wages so low and rents so low that you could only afford to rent in this area.
Right.
So we put all of you in this area, right? And so it's strategic. And now for the first time in American history, there is not a law that's stopping us. We are going to lose it all on our own from lack of knowledge. So we should hold on to it, because what will happen is, as housing prices increases, rents continue to increase.
That's right.
But then salaries are not increasing.
Right.
That's true.
So what we're seeing is, over time, in these next 20 years, we're going to see another shift in housing, because it's going to be who's going to live where, and where are we going to put the cheaper rents and then subsidized rents. And as you can see, it used to be in the city center, but now they want the city centers. So they're starting to move people out of the projects and the city centers and moving the projects out into the suburbs. And then they're redeveloping the city centers for, $500,000, $1 million condos.
Right.
So if you don't want to be moved around and you want to be able to take some control over that, if you have access to some of this heirs property, you should try to retain it as much as possible.
That is so
Years
interesting.
ago, Susie Orman, I don't know if she still says it now, you're familiar with her. She said the best way to plan for divorce is before marriage.
Yeah.
Find out everything you can so that when you enter in with this person, you'll already understand what's going on.
But they don't do that now, though.
Because it's not taught. And it's
It's
something
not.
that you should find out
Get to
everything
know
about
each other.
divorce
That's
before
true.
you get married.
That's
Right.
that's and
you
that's
really
true.
should, but people don't teach it. It's
But
just like
they
death
don't
do us
want.
part.
That's true.
We together, we stuck together. No, you need to find out everything, because it may go south. Trust
Yes.
me, it
Thank
may
you.
go south.
Baby.
In-laws, outlaws.
And they need to
friends.
interview one another, get to know that person. You know,
Those are
they
things
don't
you
do
should really
that.
talk about.
Right.
Our divorce laws before
Yeah.
you get married, and they don't.
That's
we
a
don't do
good
that.
thing.
And why is it important and everything?
And
'Cause we
counseling
don't.
and going through all this stuff, you know,
Our
before.
things divided.
Right.
Yeah.
And marriage in and of itself is, if you think about it, you're doing business.
That
It's
is.
a business
Yeah.
arrangement.
It's a business.
You have a
business.
business plan.
That's
This
right.
is
It's
what we're going to do
business.
for this
It really
family. This is what it's going to cost. This is how we're going to do it. And
Yeah,
it's
that's
funny
true.
how we will not make a plan going into it
Right.
like we do when we go get a business.
And then we're blindsided.
Yes.
when it
By
falls
love.
apart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
we're
it has to
told
be
you're
more than
in it
love.
for life.
I know,
That's
but
right.
most
Yeah.
of it starts off with
I bet
that.
that,
You
yeah.
know, I'm love you. Then before you know it goes in love. That's another subject.
And I think you should.
That's a
I
good
think
one.
you should take premarital counseling.
I do too.
Yeah.
Before you get
I
married.
really do.
I don't think you should. I mean, I know y'all do. Don't shoot me. Everybody focus on singleness.
Yeah.
You know, you need to talk about everything about marriage and learn
Thank
everything
you.
about marriage before you actually
I
start
think
dating.
so too.
So
Yeah.
I was
you
just
can
gonna say,
date
yeah.
a little wiser,
More
Yes.
effectively.
more
Yes.
effectively.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Because that's
I
what I
agree
tell
with
Stephen
that.
Sebastian. I said, when EXO come on, y'all need to be EXO listening and tuning in,
Right.
so you can learn how to communicate. So you can learn everything about marriage you need to know before you get over there. So if this person isn't, you can see things ahead of time.
Right.
That's
Yes.
the EXO marriage conference.
I
'Cause
love
you
it.
can play
So you
attention
can date
to-
with intention
With
Yeah.
intention
and with understanding.
and
And it really
understanding.
helps you, separate the wheat from the chaff.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
That's
pay
good.
attention to them. I always tell people, pay attention to the person. There's 4 seasons. Pay attention to all them seasons. Because they mean
That's
something.
true.
A lot of times when it's sunny and bright,
Right,
everybody
everything
happy.
is good.
Right out of the bushy
That's
tail.
right.
Look at the summer season. I mean, look at how fall happens to you in
Mhm.
winter when things start to die and replenish.
That's
And
true.
so you see how they react when things start to die and it has to be
And if they gonna
replenished.
leave you,
Yeah.
That's right.
Or
That's
even
right.
if they have manic episodes,
Yeah.
people don't think about stuff like I agree with you.
Or when a
that's,
tornado
that's a
hits
good
the house.
topic. That's a
Yeah,
good topic.
right.
When a tornado hits the
When a
house,
tornado
now
hits
you
the
got to
house, yeah.
figure out how to rebuild
But I don't
it.
have
Do
no
they fall
tornado.
apart?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so
Or
we
can
don't
they
do
stick
that.
it out with
With
you?
the
You
state
didn't
you're
get
in.
That's
act of God insurance. You didn't
That's
get
right.
because it's different insurances.
Never act of Satan. It's always
Right, it's all the act of God.
Thank you. Thank
And
you. I like that. The actors,
That was
yeah,
an
that's true.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was some good
Read the
information.
divorce laws.
Yeah, read the
that's
divorce.
good.
I
And the
agree
real
with you.
estate laws before you
And
get
that's good.
involved.
That's
And especially read them for the ones coming up too. Stuff that's about to be passed.
Mhm.
But we don't read stuff that's about to be passed, and then it happens. You be like, but I didn't know. Yeah, because
That's the reason why the Bible said, "I have you not to be ignorant." You need to know.
that part.
You ask for wisdom and knowledge.
That part.
So that's good.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
This is
We're gonna
good,
have her to
girl.
come back to the church
I
so people can ask
know.
questions
That part.
and be able to do. I learned so much when I went to that Keep It in the Family. That's a good thing. Y'all need to keep that.
We are, and we also are going to be doing webinars,
Yes.
family consultations, and
Yes.
webinars on what to do when you're single
That's
with your
good.
real estate.
That's really good because you have single people buying houses and all of this stuff like that.
Yes.
So thank you so much. But right now we're gonna pause and do Fashion by Kimberley, and then we'll come back and close out. Look at boy, he be ready for that, Mike.
Can I have the
Drop
same
that
song?
beat. Come on, Otis.
Oh, slow. Let me get it.
Oh, I like that.
All right.
You're gonna have to get with him before.
And today, Kimberly has on a onesie jacket. It sits in the middle,
I like that.
but it is gorgeous.
I love it.
She is Jay Bolin.
Nice.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Come on,
Hey.
$25.
That
Look,
is
it
cute.
She is a no limit soldier, and she can also sing in the Wiz in the play. She's doing her thing, and she got on these pants to let the fellas know I'm ready. I'm here.
Ready.
Yes, look at these
Look
feathers.
at those feathers.
Come
That
on,
is
these
cute,
feathers.
ain't it?
We don't fly, we soar because she's an eagle.
But
And she
if
looks
I,
amazing.
if I had wings,
Come on,
of a
my
dove.
God. Yeah.
Come on
Yeah,
now.
it looks amazing. Of course, the shoes
They
are always
Yeah.
showing. If nothing else, she looks amazing. you
How low
guys.
can you go? How
Yeah,
low
boy,
can you
yeah. All right. We ain't got no ushers tonight to
go?
help you out.
Right. Otis
Don't
ain't
go
gonna
too
come pick you up either.
Yeah, so
Only
shout
say you
out
don't
to
pick her
Kim. She looks amazing.
I know it. I like
No
that.
one wears
love it.
feathers like
Like
Kim
Kimberly.
Jeffries does. She is amazing.
Give it up. I love
Thanks,
Fashion
Big
by
Husky.
Kimberly.
Nobody can MC like Big Husky.
She got up and I was like, ooh, so I'm gonna say it's a onesie just to have some fun with it.
I'm still stuck on my doily dress.
Yeah,
Wow. All right. What would you say to the audience before? Give us some closing remarks to our audience.
Yes, I would say that you should consider how to keep your real estate legacy alive in your family. If you have never owned real estate, you can. And we want to equip you and give you all of the information that you need to be successful for the next generation to come.
Yes.
What we like to say is keeping your real estate legacy alive from generation to generation. So reach out to us on Keep It in the Family. Stay in contact with us. We will be in Dallas having our next real estate legacy tour stop. Then we're going to East Texas, Chicago, Arkansas. So we'll be going around the country with this message. So don't miss us, and it won't be hard to find.
So we sign up
That's for her.
for your you have like a
updates.
email.
You can do that. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
If you go to www.kitfllc.com, you can sign up to be on our email list, and we'll make sure that you stay up to date because we're going to be doing pop-ups and all kinds of things in between now and our conference in Dallas.
Come
That's
on,
good.
KIFTLLC.com.
Alrighty, and we'll have that information on the website as well. Also, remember, if you're ready to rent a photo booth, one of the most amazing photo booths, you need to check us out at www.thekirkbooth.com, where we bring memories to any organization, birthday party, whatever you're having, as long as it's decent and in order.
Come on.
We
Yes.
will be
Come on,
there.
order.
We bring our attendants. We can make you props. You pick your backdrop out, whatever. We're there, and I guarantee you will love it. You will love it. So check us out again at www.thekirkbooth.com, and we will be there in a hurry.
Yes.
All right. May God bless you and keep you until we see you what?
Face to face.
Good night,
Every
Helen.
Monday and
Thanks,
Thursday, 8
Sandy.
p.m. Facebook and
Thanks to
YouTube.
Adams. Hope
All
you
right,
get
good
better.
night. Thank you
Good
all
night.
for tuning in.
See you, Sebastian.
That's on behalf of